Hello everyone, Shavua Tov, Shana Tova. We're in a new year, and Parashat Ha'azinu always comes in the beginning of the new year. So what's in it for this parasha? This is a very, very special parasha. It's written differently. It's very different than any other part of the whole Torah. First of all, you can see it visibly when you look at the parchment in the Torah of Parashat Ha'azinu. It doesn't look like any other parasha. The structure of the way it's written is very special. And let's see how to get into it. First of all, let's speak about the name of the parasha. The name of the parasha is Ha'azinu. Ha'azinu means listen. And Moses is starting, we're talking about Deuteronomy, the book of Dvarim, chapter 32, verse 1. Ha'azinu hashamayim v'adabera. Listen, heaven, and I will talk. V'tishma haaretz imrei fi. And the earth will hear the words of the sayings of my mouth. Oh, you already realize this is a poem. This is not a regular Torah section. This is a poem. This is a poem. It's a song. It's written as a poem. It has all the structure of a poem, the weights, the whole structure is like a poem. And this is called a poem. It's a shira. Now, why do we need a poem right now? And why the name Ha'azinu? And first of all, Ha'azinu means listen. When is it, we spoke about it before, when is it that we can listen? When we are balanced. Otherwise, we're not listening. When we are not balanced, we have a lot of noise within. Whatever comes in, if it does come, it goes through the screen of the noise of our brain, heart, whatever, liver, depends what is more vocal inside you. You're not listening. You're not getting it in. You're just reacting. And the whole thing about this month is about balancing. Let's explain. If you learn about the structure of the month of Tishrei, first of all, the month of Tishrei is the month of Libra, the zodiac sign of Libra. How do you say Libra in Hebrew? Moznaim. What is the shoresh? The scales. Or in French, for instance, you call it balance. Balance. Which means, and in Hebrew, the word moznaim, which means scales, but it's coming from the word izun. Balance. Aleph, the shoresh of the word is Aleph Zayin Nun, and that means balance. Okay? Now, what does mean balance? That's what we are looking for. What are we here for? Balance. Which means we learn it in the beginning, and the beginning of the all beginnings in Bereshit. We're studying that in 3 weeks all over again. And what did we learn? We learn about Abram, Isaac, and Jacob. Abram and Sarah, Isaac and Rivka, Jacob and Rachel, and then Leah and so on. And what did we learn? That we're not learning about people who lived in the past. This is not our interest. We're not into nostalgia or genealogy or stuff like this. We're learning about the three most important parts of our soul that we have to maintain through the whole year. Abram is the desire to share, to care, to love, to be there for others. Kindness, olam chesed ibaneh. The whole world stands on loving kindness. Okay? That's Abram. Can you live just on loving kindness? Impossible. You can't just breathe out, you need to breathe in. Okay? That is Isaac. And Isaac is about the desire to receive. And desire to receive, that means I am a human being, and I was created for the purpose, and one purpose, to receive God's pleasure and fulfillment and light. Okay? And you have to develop the left side, Isaac, the same way you have to develop the right side, Abram. However, we know very well that it's not the easiest thing. If you run a business, when you have relationships, any kind of social relationships in the family, Outside of it, it's all about giving and taking. And if it's not balanced, that will blow. Okay? So you have to give happily, but if you don't know that what's in it for me, you can't. After a while, you have no desire to give anymore. Why? We're creatures of desire. So of course, if we said many times, what if I give to another person and he never gives back? I am not supposed to give him so he gives back to me. Right? I am giving to other people and sharing with other people in order to receive the light of God. And that, when I share, I strengthen my right side, my chesed side, and that allows me to attach to the Creator, which is much greater than any human being, and He can give me much more than any human being. So I don't want to be dependent. I want to simply plug in to the Creator. And plugging in means I have to balance, because the Creator's energy is balanced. And you know, similarities attract. And if you are not balanced, when we are not balanced, we're offline. And then we start blaming other people. Why he didn't give me, why he didn't give me. Nobody's supposed to give you. If you wait for others to give you, you have other gods, right? They right now control your life, and this is impossible. You can't, it never goes right. To balance between the right and the left, the giving and the sharing, you need the central column. Okay? And when you have the central column, you have balance. Where is the balance organ of the body? In the ear. How do you say ear in Hebrew? Ozen. Same letters again. Aleph, Zayin, Nun. Which means, Ha'azinu, listen, in Hebrew comes from the word Aleph, Zayin, Nun. And Moznaim, the scales in Hebrew come from the word Aleph, Zayin, Nun. And, you know, balance is Aleph, Zayin, Nun, the balance organ in the body that has 3 arches. Because you need Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, giving, receiving, and balancing. It's always 3-part system. And that's why the Zohar says of this parasha, speaks a lot about the apple. All the trees in the world, says the Zohar, they are connected to the Sphira of Malchut. The trees bearing fruit. Because what is a fruit? A fruit is Malchut, is the manifestation. This is the outcome of the whole tree, except for one fruit. One fruit is not Malchut. Is not the symbol of an outcome, is a symbol of balance. An apple. Because the apple, I don't know, today you can't find them, but remember, you can find in the market apples that had many colors on them. You had red straps, green straps, white straps on them. And the Zohar speaks about exactly this kind of an apple. In the apple, you know, they say an apple a day keeps a doctor away, because the apple is balancing the body and the immune system. And what is the main thing? You know, on Rosh Hashanah dinner, you eat all kinds of stuff to remind and to say, to give you an opportunity to say words of, you know, to say positive affirmations. We're going to have a positive year. All the negativity is going to be taken away. Depends. We're going to have a lot of good luck. But in different Jewish communities, there are different traditions about what you eat and what you say. All of them share one tradition, which is to eat an apple. Because the apple, says the Zohar, is the symbol of right, left, and center. The apple is Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. The apple is something out of the system of the other trees. It is. So what are we here for? The balance. So it's the apple. It's Parashat Ha'azinu. It's the scales, which means Moznaim, the balance. All is around that issue. And we had on Rosh Hashanah, what did we have? We had the blow of the shofar Tkiyah, that was strengthening the chesed, the right column in each one of us. Then we have Shvarim Tuah, was to cleanse and to organize and to settle the judgment, the left column, and then Tkiah all over again, which is Jacob again, central column. So what were we doing on Rosh Hashanah is balancing the vessel, balancing our soul. Again, the same story. Now, if you look at the parasha, as we said, it's written totally different than any part of the Torah. Most of the Torah, like 99% of the pages of the 5 books of Moses, it's a column after a column of writing. One column after another. They all look alike. Except, but if you look at Parashat Ha'azinu, the way, there are rules, how do you write a Sefer Torah? A Torah parchment. It can take a year to write it for the scribe, it's handwritten, but there are certain rules that, you can do a little bit, play with the style, not too much. But there's something you cannot play with. The structure of Parashat Ha'azinu. The structure of Parashat Ha'azinu is like this. There are 2 pages. Parashat Ha'azinu is very short. How many? I think 52 verses, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 52 verses. 52 verses. The number 52 symbolize the vessel. But what does the vessel want to receive? So look at it. It is mandatory in every Sefer Torah that few verses before the beginning of Parashat Ha'azinu, there's the word ve'aida, and I will testify. That has to be the first word in that column. Can't play with that. You cannot play with that. This word has to start the column, which means that there are about 4 or 5 lines after that of regular column. But immediately after that, when Parashat Ha'azinu is starting, it's a poem. And a poem, this way, only in Parashat Ha'azinu, it's written in 2 straight columns. So what do you get? You get 1 top, like a doorpost, and 2 lintels on the sides. Okay, what do you get? You get it like the letter N. Okay? What do you see? 3 columns. Right, left, and center. Now, if you go to the next page, you have, again, 2 columns, but at the bottom, again, you have a wide text, so you get it like the letter U. So what do you get? Like 2, then again, you have 3 columns, right, left, and center. But what's the difference? One is like an upper triangle, and another is a lower triangle, right? What do you get? The Star of David. Like you get, don't look at the shape. It's not diagonal. We're talking about a cosmic force. We have 2 systems of 3 columns. That's what the Star of David symbolizes. It's not a religious symbol. It's a metaphysical equation, which means in order for the person to have a good flowing life, that the life force of the light flows through your life properly, you need to have 2 triangles. What's a triangle, as we said? Balance. How many parts in the balance organ in the ear? 3 arches, right? Right, left, and center, right? It has to be all on the 3, like every electrical device. You have the minus, you have the plus, and you have some resistors in the beginning that create the work and prevent a short circuit. Okay? So why 2 triangles? 1 triangle is on the thought, spiritual level. Thought, awareness. A person needs to have a spiritual outlook, which means always looking for the balance. Not to give too much, but to give. Never refrain yourself from being a giver. Not to take so much, but you have to take, because you're being created to take. And how do you balance between the 2? That's in a thought, spiritual, conscious level. But that's not enough. You have to manifest it also in the physical level. You're doing commerce, right? On one hand, you have to give a service. On the other hand, you have to take a salary, right? You have to balance between what you give and what you get, so it's not a theft or it's not cheating, because if it's not balanced, you are off course. So there are people with lofty ideas that meditate about balance, about balancing the universe, but when it comes to everyday life, it's not balanced. Okay? Mm-hmm. You need to have it balanced in both layers, both levels. That's why you need 2 triangles. Mm-hmm. And we are working on these 2 triangles. So we had it on Rosh Hashanah. And again, on Rosh Hashanah we had 3 cycles of shofar blowing. Each one of them was divided into 3 orders of shofar blowing. Why? Again, right, left, center, of right, left, center, of the right, of the left, of the center. Everything was based on balancing the person. When the system is balanced. You know, what do you do? Let's say you have one of those really powerful cars. They have like this tremendously powerful engine. Okay? You go on the road, let's say in a place you can really go 300 kilometers an hour, but the wheels are not balanced. What will happen? It will start, if you don't stop, the whole thing will just blow into pieces because it's not balanced, right? Why here? Because the energy that is injected into this month, the month of Moznaim, balance. How is the month connected to balance? It's divided, as the Zohar says, into 3 sections. The first section, the first 10 days, as it says in the Song of Songs, Smolo tachat leroshi, his left arm under my head. We are being fixing and balancing. The Creator is balancing for us during these 10 days, which today, till Yom Kippur, we are right now in that, and Parashat Azin is always that. The Creator is balancing us. He's not waiting for us voluntarily to balance. He's balancing us. During the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, 10 days, we are under an operation. The Creator is operating on us. We are on the operation table. We think we are alive, we are awake, we go back and forth, but we are under an operation right now. Okay? You know, like an operation that you are half sedated, so you think you're awake, but most of you are sleeping. So we are under treatment right now. Okay? What is the treatment? To organize all the judgments so we can go through the process of balancing them through the rest of the year. Of course, they're called also the days of awe. Why awe? Because the soul is in awe from all of these powers that are coming to heal the soul. It's also the days of Teshuvah. Teshuvah means in Hebrew, return the hay. The hay is our life, our needs and our desires. And as we said in previous weeks, Teshuvah means return the hay. What is the hay? It's our existence. Return to where? Replug it to the system. How do you replug yourself to the network? By vibrating on the same wavelength. When? When you are balanced. How do you get balance? You give up the hate. You give up being right. You give up the pain. You give up. Well, how can I? You can. You're supposed to. Simply give it up. Let go and let God. The more we give it up during these 10 days, the more balanced we become, the more strength we get from the universe, because it's injected. Here comes another thing. Okay? In the name of God, the Tetragrammaton, there are 4 letters, but they basically symbolize 10 Sefirot. The top Sefirah is the thorn of the Yud, Keter. When you learn Kabbalah, Keter is the top of all of it. It doesn't have a letter of its own because it's beyond any real structure. The Yud itself is Sfirat Chokhmah. The Hey, the second letter, is Sfirat Bina, which is called also Ima, mother. Why? Because who feeds the children? The mother, right? In the womb and after birth, whatever. That's naturally that's what the mother is feeding the children. Who is feeding us that level which is called Sfirat Bina? Then comes the conduit, the Vav, that looks like a conduit. This is Zeir Anpin, and then comes the Hey, as the Hey that has to be returned. When we off course, which means when we are negative, right, we are whatever, selfish, all of those like noisy stuff of chaotic consciousness, we are not aligned to the network of light. So we're not being nurtured. What's the result? We are noisy. Why we know? Because when we are hungry and we feel lack, there's a lot of noise. We can't listen at that moment. Okay, you can't listen to the messages coming at us. We cannot listen when somebody comes to give you something, a smile, a good word, an advice. What do you want? This is the time to leave that behind. Why? So the light can come in and it help us with the cleansing. So tshuva means when you focus on what? On the person you're supposed to become, and not at the person that you don't like, that you have become in the past. Okay? Don't ask on the negative during this week, these 10 days, ask on the positive. Okay? And when you ask on the positive, you become as the Creator because you acquire His attributes. Forgiveness, unconditional love, greatness, patience, acceptance, all of this. These are God's 13 attributes. 13, numerical value in Hebrew, ahava, love, echad, one, to be complete. The more we can do it during these 10 days, we fix the left column, which means this is the most important part of our personality. I need, I desire, I want. When this doesn't work, forget it. Nothing else works. That's the first 10 days. 10 Sefirot. After Yom Kippur is over, and which is the great cleanser. Yom Kippur is you just have to stand there like, okay, God clean me. That's enough. Please clean me. I'm giving you job, but you have to let go. I'm not upset. I don't want to be upset. Take it away from me. A lot of people can't. I will never forgive. I will never forget I will never heal. Why, are you cursing yourself or something? Focus on who do you want to become. And it better be aligned with the attributes of the Creator. Because you always prefer to be wise than to be right. Did you notice that all the people who are right, they're very bitter? Mm-hmm. Do you want? No. You want to be wise and sweet and shining. And then you don't care being right. It's not even a business. It's like, you want to be, you're right. It's really important for you. Okay, I'm listening, you're right. Everybody's right in his place. But being right, there's no mitzvah to be right. Never in the Torah, 5 books of Moses, or the rest, there's any recommendation or order to be right. So if you're not requested to be right, who asks you? Usually it's very aggravating trying to be right. Better to be wise and loving. It's such a freedom. After the 10 days, we are working right now on the right column. Okay, the 10 days was the left column. Smolo tachat leroshi, his left arm under my head. After that, it's v'yimino techabkeni. And his right arm is hugging me. What's that? Sukkah. A kosher sukkah is like a right arm hugging. It needs 2 walls See? 1, 2, and 1 hand breath. That's a kosher sukkah. Okay? And of course, you need the cover of vegetation that doesn't rot during the 7 days of sukkah. But that's, you're sitting in God's hugging for 7 days. Would you like to get out of that hug? Why should you? It's like, you know, as long as he's hugging, I'm here. Please hug me. How many days? 7 days of Sukkot. Why 7 days? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We invite, on the first day, we invite Abraham, right column. On the second day, we invite Isaac, left column. What are we doing? Do we really invite the sages and the patriarchs? What? No, we are building inside ourselves the Star of David of protection. Because when you are full of positive light, can darkness come in? No? So the Sukkot is the day that not just we cleanse the left column on the first 10 days, in Sukkot we are creating the shield of love around us. You know, there are those people, wherever they will go, whatever happens to them, there will always people come to help them. Even the most gruesome, awful moments. And there are those people, even going to the nicest places, they'll always stumble and get into crooks and villains and thieves. Like, how did you find a crook over there? They don't even know what does it mean. You attract according to what you vibrate. So on Sukkot, we bring in ourselves the shield of chesed and loving kindness, the right arm hugging in 7 layers, the Star of David. Okay, 6 points, and in the middle, David, which is us. After we fix the left column, then the right column, now comes the center column. This is Simchat Torah, the last day of the 22 days. And then what do we do? That's a wedding. What do we do in the wedding? If you've been to Ashkenazi wedding, the bride goes 7 times around the groom. Right. What do we do on Simchat Torah? We make 7 circles dancing with the Torah. We have a bride, and the light is the groom, and we have that matrimony, holy matrimony. So now everything is fused, and the new year can begin. Balance. Balance. But let's go back. Who did we say is feeding the baby? His mother. Okay? And we said this is Sfirat Bina. Okay? The upper hay. The first hay of the Youdkevitch. In the Kabbalistic language, there's a term called Partzuf. It means a face, but it means also in Kabbalistic terminology, a complete structure. A complete structure must have all the Sfirot in it. Otherwise, it cannot be considered as a structure. It doesn't have a name. Okay? Now, the symbol by code of the different parts of the body. So the skull or the cortex is Keter. Chochma, which is like the Yud. This is the eyes. And Bina is the ears. Ozen. So it's not just a place of balance. This is the place that is feeding us. So all those days of the month of Moznaim, it is about the Creator feeding mankind for another year. The more we open, the more we can get of that spiritual feeding of life and sustenance for another year. So now you understand all of these symbols, all of these structures. But there's one more. Okay. First of all, reading the parasha, it's a beautiful, beautiful poetry in Hebrew. English depends who's the translator, because in English there are about 50, 60, 70, 100 translations to the same text. And most of them did not really know Hebrew, so you can't really count on them. Most of them they copied it from somebody, copied from somebody, from Latin, from, that's... and, some of them had some agenda. So you don't know what they meant, but you don't know what was written there. So you better, if you really want to learn something, you have to know the text and to know the language. God created the universe in Hebrew, not in English. How old is English? A few centuries, that's it. Right? So, there are many, many, many codes in this parasha. But we have something very special. On chapter 32, verse 6, there's something, it's called HaLeHashem Tigmelu Zot. Very hard to translate. HaLeHashem Tigmelu, it's like a question, but the word is, there's a Ha over there, and in the Torah itself, there's a huge, big Hey. Now, and it's written as a word of its own. There's never, all over the 5 books of Moses, a place where a letter is written as a word by itself, standing alone. Okay? In English, you have a lot of time. A. When you use A, that's already, in Hebrew, it doesn't exist. Only one place. Ha. And a big, huge Hey. Now, in the Torah itself, there are 3 sizes of letters. Small, medium, large. Okay? The small represents Sfirat Malchut, the lower world, our world. The large represent Bina, the upper world, the world to come. Or in Hebrew, Olam Haba, the world that is coming. It does all the time. We just have to welcome it. And the medium size represents Zer Anpin, which is the world of spirits, of spirituality. Okay? Now, most of the Torah, 99.9%, is written with a medium size. There are few places, there are big letters. This is one of them. Big Hey. So, the big Hey represent what? The upper world, Bina. But also, Bina is represented in the Tetragrammaton as the letter Hey. Can't be more in your face of we are having a connection. We are being fed directly from the source of light, from the Brecha Elyona, from the upper pool, the upper place of Bracha. Brecha is a pool, Bracha is bliss, right? Do you notice it's the same, it's also written the same, it's the same letters. Bracha, blessing, a blessing, and Brecha, a pool of water. It's written the same letters exactly, pronounced differently, which means we are connected to the upper pool in a way that is like you can get like, how do you clean stuff? You steam it. Water is the universal cleaner, correct? Mm-hmm. But there's usually, how do we get it? It comes from the bliss is coming from the Hey, through the conduit, which is the Vav, that looks like a pipe, into the Hey. So we have liftoffs. So we can get, and then the Vav can clean us, like a hose. But still, sometimes you just do it with the hose, but you know what? Let's say you have that pot, flower pot, and somehow you went somewhere else and it didn't get water. It got so dry, if you pour water on it, it spills over. What do? You need to immerse it. You take a bucket, you put the pot in it, so it soaks. And then, after it soaks, you see the flower like, you know what I'm saying? There's one day in the year that we do that. Yom Kippurim. Says Rabbi Isaac Luria, why it's called, in the Torah, it's never said Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. It says Yom Kippurim, Day of Atonements. Why do you need to say it in plural? Because when you write it this way, says the Zohar, it shows exactly There's a folding. What does it mean? You take the word Kippurim, you find inside the letters Yud Mem. Yud Mem is Yam, an ocean. An ocean is another symbol for Bina. It's also numerical value 50. The 50th gate is Bina. When you reach the 50th gate of holiness, you're immersed. You're immersed in the life force, and that means no death, no negativity. Everything is okay. Why? When you're satiated, everything is okay. Right? Somebody comes here with blah, 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 the person in total chaos. Right? But you just prayed, meditated, studied, and you plugged in to the network, and you're just immersed in spirituality, and you're so full of light, you can't wait to share it with someone. So that person comes with his own chaos, and you realize he's in pain. You don't even think to get annoyed. You just want to embrace that person and share with him and fill him up till he gets like, that was so good, thank you. What about the annoyance you had before? Oh, you forgot about it. When you're happy, you forget about it, and you don't need to be right anymore. Correct? Sometimes you open a projector like and fill the person with a lot of light. What comes from the heart goes to the heart, and in the beginning they just like get mixed up, and then okay, give it to me. That's why it says in Proverbs, Ma'aneh rach yashiv chema. A soft answer will return the rage, will calm down the rage. Okay? When you come to the person with a lot of, hug and softness and love, if you send enough light, they cannot, because what is it that everybody wants? The light. They don't want to be right, they want the light. So, Yam, it's an ocean of bliss. This is Bina. 50, the 50th gate. Okay? Then you have Kaf Vav, 26, which is the Tetragrammaton. That's Zer Anpin. That's a middle connection, connecting to the upper world. And then you have Par. Par, Peiresh. Par means judgment. This is the vessel. Judgment. 280. 10 times koach, strength. On Yom Kippur, why the Torah says Yom Kippurim, says Rabbi Ezekloya? Because on Yom Kippur, you are the pot that God is trying to water. And you know what? There are certain places they stay dry always. So God takes you to His ocean of bliss, to His upper pool, and you soak in His eternal mikveh for the whole day. So in the end of the day, you're just like, was amazing. You become soft. What you have to do is just, okay, God, take me, put me in your pool. I'm there, I'm immersed. Because the Yom Kippur is the only day that we don't have to pull the light from above to below, because we have been lifted up from below to above and set to immerse in the pool. Two functions. The pool is a mikveh, so that's cleansing. What cleanses the person more than anything else? Fulfillment, bliss. When you feel endless bliss around you and within you, you can give up to being right. Yeah, I'm right, they were wrong, they abused me. What do you want to feel? What do you want to be? What do you want to become? There's nothing else but it. This is the whole thing. And nothing but it. So Yom Kippur is the most happiest day of the whole year. The most happiest day of the whole year. Why? It says in the Talmud and in the Zohar, It says in the end of the Talmud, Masechet Ta'anit, tractate of fasting, it says there were 2 days of the year, the most happiest days of them all. Yom Kippur and the 15th of Av. 15th of Av, we know it's a day of love. It's a holiday of love. But most people are too busy then celebrating. That's good for kids when they go to have this, Israeli Woodstock of 15th of Av. Man, we grown up. But Yom Kippur, a happy day. Yeah, if God is saying all the time, V'salachti kidvarecha, I forgive, you just let go, I forgive. V'zarakti alechem mayim teorim u'tahartem, I will throw pure water on you and it will be purified. Being upset on that day is kind of a chutzpah, right? It's like God takes you and immerses you in His own ocean of love and bliss. And you just continue, but God, but I'm miserable, I'm this, I made so many mistakes, I'm upset, I'm terrible, I'm bitter, I'm that, blah, 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 blah. What does it call? There's an expression like this. Tovel v'sheretz beyado. You immerse yourself in the water of cleansing, but you're holding on to a dead corpse. So you're still connected to impurity. Why? Because you're holding on Yom Kippur to the stuff you're supposed to let go of. Don't focus on Yom Kippur what you don't want. Whoever learned NLP, all kinds of psychology, their brain does not understand. I'm not angry. You're angry. Because what you're thinking on? I'm thinking about not being angry, so you're thinking about the anger, right? Mm-hmm. The only way not to think about anger is to think about happy stuff. Okay? Don't focus on what you don't want. Again, focus on the things you do want. Focus on the chesed you want to feel, the loving kindness you want to feel. Focus about the gvura you want to the receiving what you want to receive and the giving you want to give. Think about the person you want to become, because in Yom Kippur you will get it if you just ask for it. Mm-hmm. And let go of the person you've been till today. What an amazing day of immersion in unconditional bliss and love. So is it a happy day?
Very.
Very. And that's why the Talmud is saying that the girls of Jerusalem will go dancing wearing white. So everybody thinks that's about the holiday of love. But what are the girls, the daughters of Jerusalem, but not Yerushalayim? These are the souls. And what is mecholot? Yeah, on one hand, machol is dance. But machol is the same word as mechila, forgiveness. And where do they dance? In the vineyards. How do you say vineyard in Hebrew? Kerem. Numerical value 260. Again, the Tetragrammaton is 26, 10 times 260. Everything connects. Everything is one. We are being given such a hug and gift during the days of this month. It's like when we calm down and we trust what the sages are saying. More than a calf wants his mother's milk. His mother wants to feed him. Who did they say it about? The Creator. More than we think we want to be happy. He wants us to be happy. How much does He want us to be happy? Much, much more we can even imagine in our wildest dreams. We usually want, God, please, just, I want to pay my debts, I just want to be healthy, I want my kids to be okay, I want this and that, I don't want to fight with my husband, with my wife, with my mother-in-law, we just want all kinds of little things. Tiny little things that annoy us. But my rabbi used to say, what if you take all of those problems from the person? He'll have an identity crisis. Because he has no idea who he wants to be. He just knows what he doesn't want. And that's why you're stuck with all the stuff you don't want. Because What you're focusing on, that's what you become. On the other hand, if you focus on the person you want to become or you're supposed to become, you don't know who you're supposed to become. A lot of people found greatness kind of by coincidence. They never figured out that's what's waiting for them. And they bumped into it. They came into it. They never dreamt they're going to achieve such greatness. They didn't even know how to think, because with a little brain we have, a little logic that we have, we know just to move one step maybe sometimes. But who am I going to become in a few steps away from now? Only God knows. He tries to give it to us, and we block it by insisting of, we want the pennies, he wants us to give us the billions. I'm not talking just about the money, I'm talking about everything. So what we do during these weeks, these holidays, is simply, okay, I'm not arguing with you, God, who I supposed to be, what I really want. Just give me what you want me to become, and all the rest, I don't care, you can take it away, I don't really care about it. Enjoy the new year. Enjoy the ride. Be happy, don't worry, and just focus on praying to who do you want to become and who do you supposed to become, that will be revealed to all of us. Maybe not all of it, but just another patch will be revealed. It will be worthwhile to live another year. Thank you very much, and happy new sweet year.